Hey, what's going on YouTube? I am back with another story time, and if you do enjoy these stories, please like, subscribe, ring that bell. Any case, this is the first time I ever tried shrooms. And you know, it's something I'd wanted to try for a long time, but I just never had access. Never really knew anybody that had shrooms on hand to sell. So pretty much throughout high school, in fact, high school, there was a time I pretty much got ripped off out of $35 trying to, you know, have a nice shroom trip. So it just wasn't meant to be, I guess, for me for a long while. But was it a good few years ago? I think this would technically be, that'd be like 2017? I don't know. A good few years ago. My wife and I, we were actually gifted some shrooms, just, you know, 2 grams for each of us, and as a nice tester, a nice little gift from some friends. And it was exciting. I had been wanting to do shrooms for a long time, so you didn't know which strain they were. It was just, they look like your stereotypical shrooms, dried shrooms, but they were pretty nice. The taste I did not mind so much, but the high was, you know, one thing I noticed out of a shroom high in general, it really harkens back to like when I first started smoking weed. Some of the visual effects definitely remind me of the first couple years of getting baked. Just some of the sort of green screen type effects. But regardless, so we got these shrooms and we had a day off and we really didn't know what to do on these shrooms. And what better way than to do a grocery trip? So, because we had an empty kitchen, like it was that time to just do our bi-weekly grocery trip, major grocery trip. So what better way to do it than high on shrooms? So we go ahead, we pop them in, you know, chew those suckers down, and make our way to HEB. And pretty much it was perfect timing, because as we're arriving to the grocery store, it starts to kick in. And it's, at first, it's a nice little, like, you know, a little body high, getting a little bit of the giggles, and just feel that, just that grin on your face, you know, you just can't help but, you know, feel a little of that, I don't know, just a mood boost from it. And it wasn't really a downer experience, like, didn't really get tired or anything. It was more of definitely a mood boost. Not like energetic, but just feeling a lot better and just more at ease in general, and just having this fat grin and just kind of laughing at stupid stuff, just finding the humor in things a lot easier. So we're going around, we're putting stuff in the cart, and there's multiple times we swear some people knew we were on drugs for sure, because we would look at like a box of cereal and just start crack up laughing. It would just a certain look of the box or something, it would hit both of us. We just crack up laughing. And especially in the moments like looking at some of the products as we're checking things out, I definitely get that green screen effect, but it was also like almost like it was getting hyper focused on whatever object I was focusing on. Almost like it would just look just ever so slightly bigger than normal. I just get kind of just this hyper fixation on it. And so we were going around, and it was like everything I was picking up would just like, it just kind of looked slightly bigger, and I would just feel like there's just complete green screen behind it, and I just couldn't help but just laugh at being high in the grocery store, just putting stuff in, and just how ridiculous it just felt, you know, being in this giant warehouse of food, picking stuff out, and having to pay a ton of money for it. But it pretty much just kept going and going, and I thought maybe it would taper out and you know, kind of even keel, but it was just like there really wasn't much more to the high there, I wasn't really getting any of the wavy breathingness or any like flowing kind of visual effects, but it was just this consistent, that light sort of green screen vibe, and then just like that weird hyper focusing, just seeing also little like just extra detail and things. Like my vision just got, all of a sudden I just have really good vision, and we're getting ready to be done with everything, and the high is, of course, a shroom high is going to be hours and hours and hours. So we're just like, okay, but at least we peaked while in the store. That was basically where it did, like, as we were leaving, it didn't really taper off or lower at all, but it definitely, that's where it really maintained, was at that point. And you know, we were going through, we got all our groceries, we're headed out, and yeah, driving not so great on shrooms. So we basically just like hung out for a little bit, you know, put groceries in, wait till we're kind of slightly even keeled, and then it was just enough to be able to get home. Because it was still rocking and rolling. It was definitely an interesting time getting home. Yeah. So for some reason, you know, it ended up being my wife driving home, and she was doing perfectly fine. She actually, I think personally, she actually drove a little bit better than she normally did, than she does, you know, without anything. But she definitely was anxious, just kind of about that, you know, driving on Shroom just seemed really, you know, and so just as it was starting to get kind of bad for her on that end, and it was just starting to hit, that's when we got home. So it was just perfect timing, because we didn't live that far away. We were pretty close to the grocery store, so it's not like we're having to drive some crazy distance, you know, some 20-30 minute drive to the grocery store. This was like maybe about 5 minutes. So we get home, and we pretty much just, you know, by the time we got home, it just kind of turns into almost like a weed high again. Like it felt, there's just so many similarities looking back to just a classic weed high, just a nice, you know, even body high, just feeling really relaxed and comfortable, and then also getting those light sort of green screen visuals. And it was pretty much like the rest of the day for that. I mean, we did kind of take it somewhat in the afternoon, so it kind of makes sense timing wise, but it was pretty much the remainder of the day was just in this quasi, not couch locked by any means, but just, you know, when you're on that perfect balanced weed that just like relaxes you, but also gives you some nice head high along with it. That's some of my favorite weed. And it just felt so nice. And for some reason, I don't know, taking the dog out, I did have this thing where it was like just something telling me in my head, like, I don't know what it is. There's just something where it was like this whisper I hear. It was the one particular thing, like when we got back and I took the dog out, the one like side thing that didn't really like all, you know, the effect that's different than anything else was just, I just couldn't help. I swear I heard a whisper saying like, welcome back, like whatever the fuck that means. I don't know. Like, I don't know, maybe I did shrooms as a really little kid and didn't realize it or something, but like there was this sense of like being back in a certain place. Like it just, like I was like, I had been there before. I almost like I had experienced this before, but I hadn't taken shrooms before, not to my knowledge. Like I said, the closest thing was those early days of smoking weed. So it was kind of like this weird, kind of took me by surprise there. But after that, I mean, I didn't really have any other auditory type. I didn't have any of that. It was a pretty low, like it had to have been some pretty tame shrooms. They weren't really that crazy strong. I mean, 2 grams isn't that big of a dose as it is, but compared to some of the other stuff I've tried since, that was probably a pretty easygoing shroom compared to some others. Like it was pretty nice. But yeah, that's gonna be my story of the first time I tripped on shrooms. It's probably a little ADHD there, kind of going around trying to describe my grocery trip there. I can already tell this is a bit of an ADHD type story time, trying to compile my memories as I'm talking, but hopefully you still enjoyed it. And if you do enjoy these story times, please like, subscribe, ring that bell. You have a great rest of your day.